Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give our praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors as a possible great millstone, eternal truth and root will. Peace, blessing, and salvation. I come out there, scared abroad of the four corners of the earth, that's serving the truth and true sincerity. To I say Shalom. This is Brother Nabala, continuing the video in the spirit. And this is just going to be a video about how another wacky setup by E, and this is concerning the two National Guard, the two National Guard people who end up being, I guess you could say, gunned down, and they're putting it on Afghan person, that's what they say. Now, when you look into the history of this person, he was a part of a group that was set up to fight against the Taliban, that was set up by the CIA, and then when you look and see what they was doing with them, they say he was they vetted him, they did their research, they looked in, make sure he didn't have no ties to any T-Rex groups or anything like that, and he was a part of a very serious group. Their nickname was the Death Squad, So they brought out that little background about him, and so apparently he was over here residing in the state of Washington, and he drove all the way from Washington all the way to D.C. And then also you found out that he had some warrants on him. So if he had some warrants on him, as you drive through the states, you got checkpoints, set up, tolls and stuff like that set up. So if you're driving, especially if he's coming from, because Washington, that's pretty much the West Coast. So if he's coming all the way from over there, they've been doing these crackdowns with the ICE. He didn't get stopped or get red flagged or nothing, And then he was able to drive all the way across the country to carry out this action, man. So come on now, and we know what's this really about, what their plan is, whether this was real or not, it's still going to help for the agenda what he's trying to do. And he's trying to crack down on these gun laws. He's but he's going to find a way to where he can penalize people for having these guns, and then ultimately come swoop them all up out off the streets, man. Why? Because as things continue to ramp up, with the ICE, because right now they're on Northern Kingdom's ass, and they're starting to get on Southern Kingdom, and then what? Now you got this going on with the Afghan, then you just had that protest happen here in Dearborn with that I guess he was a Christian leader or whatever the hell he is, man. He was marching through the Dearborn, and then you had the Muslims and the so-called Christians going back and forth, man. Which we know how that's set up too. But then look, it was showing how they was acting. The dude got he got hit in his face. Showing how they were acting very unruly and stuff like that. But that all ties into the scriptures too. The scriptures call him a wild man. Ishmael are very religious fanatic people. From when it comes to their religion, they go hard for it, and they're willing to take it to the next level if they have to. So that happened, I believe, last week, and then now you have this week where this Afghan person, which he's Ishmael, come over and do this, man. So we see what's going on, man. We're, like it says, I'm gonna grab this. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, "Lest Satan should get advantage of us, but we're not ignorant of his devices." We're not ignorant of his devices, man. We know what his plans is. We know what he's trying to do, man. And he's moving very tackily. That's not even a word, probably, but he's moving very tacky, man. Like in the scriptures say that. Let me grab that real quick. Jeremiah 49:7. It says, "Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? It says, is counsel perished from the prudent? Is there a wisdom vanished?" Yeah. where's all that craftiness that he used to move with? He still is moving, making these crafty plans, moving with that crafty counsel. But when it comes to executing it, it's not like it once was, man. Why? Because the Lord is exposing them, man. We're in a time where the Lord is exposing Esau, man. And so everything that he has done throughout history has been exposed. We know how they were set up. When you look at the end double hockey sticks, how that was set up, how that was an inside job, how a lot of attacks and stuff like this be inside jobs, to help further their agenda, to help form a narrative that they want, so they can put in the next steps that they're trying to accomplish, man. So now that he's been found out that that's what he does, when these little things happen, we can see right through it. So that wisdom and that craftiness that he once had, the Lord has exposed it, so they don't have it anymore, man. So we're in the times now where when we see these things, we just call it straight out. We call it what it is, man. So, and later on down the road, he still is all about creating that division, man. Creating that division. I guess trying to show people's true colors, so he can continue to and to create uprisings and uproars, man. That's what he wants to do. So what? He can put these troops out here on these streets, man. That's what he wants to do. He wants to put the National Guard out here on these streets where they're already out here on some of these streets in some of these states. But showing that, okay, if they'll come roll up on the National Guard, then what's the next step? Well, I'm going to bring in the military. And then what is the military going to do? They're going to have very strict rules, very strict orders. They're not going to be too polite. They're going to be out here, hey, like the scriptures say, swinging that sword, man. That's what he's going to be doing, man. And that's what he wants to do, because that will help him be able to lock down cities and lock down areas, and it's all for the agenda of that crafty counsel that they're making against the Israelites, man. That's who he is trying to come against, is the Israelites. So yeah, he will use any other nation or any person or anyone he can, to help move his agenda to come up against the Israelites, man. And that's the plan. And why is this his plan? Because when you come over here to Revelations 12 and 12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth ye have but a short time." Yeah, he knoweth ye have but a short time. Like it says in Job 14 and 5. Matter of fact, real quick. So Job 14 and 5, it says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou has appointed his bounds that he cannot pass." Yeah, the Lord has set up bounds that he cannot pass. But what is he trying to do? He think he's going to be able to surpass those bounds. He think he's going to be able to accomplish everything that he wants to accomplish. When you come over here, to Obadiah 1, and I'm going to start at 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" Yeah. It says, thou exalt thyself as the eagle, though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Yeah, God's terribleness has deceived thee, man. The things that he has been able to do throughout history has deceived him into thinking he's going to be able to actually perform his enterprise, man. He's setting it up. He's going to be able to set it up, but he thinks he's going to be able to perform it to its fullness, man. That he's going to be able to execute it, but he's not going to be able to, because like it says in that Job 14:5, the Lord has set bounds that he cannot pass. He's only going to allow him to get so far. He's only going to allow him to do so much, and then what? The Lord is going to intervene. So that's what's going to happen to Eve. You come over here to Job 5 and verse 12. It says he's disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. It says he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Yeah. So he's gonna what? He's gonna disappoint their devices, man, where they cannot perform their enterprise, man. Like it says later in Job, it says when he's about to fill his belly, the Lord is going to intervene, roughly paraphrasing that scripture. So he's going to get very close. The Lord's going to allow him to do some things. Why? Because these things that are going to be set up are to catch up, 2/3 of Jake. But the elect is going to be okay. These things are not going to overcome the elect. How righteous I would be those men. But for 2/3 of Jake, they're going to get caught up in the things that he has set up. And these people in the world too, man. Because he doesn't care about nobody but himself. He don't care about his own. If you're not a part of the elite, if you don't have no bloodline going to the elite and not part of that upper echelon, he don't care about you, man. And he's going to continue to show that. He's showing his horns now, but he's going to continue to show his horns as time progresses. You know? So these things that are these events, these horrific events that are happening, man, you know, majority of them, you know, he has something to do with it, man. So we just gotta wait and see. So that's why I'm gonna clear out this scripture and I'm gonna close out. But that's why we have to conduct ourselves like this, man. This is Ephesians 5 and 15. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." It says, "Redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Yeah. So we have to make sure that we're being circumspect out here, man. You know, because we are living in evil times, man. So we be circumspect. You know, he's coming down with that great wrath because he knows he has but a short time. So we have to make sure that we're being circumspect and being on our watch. And when we see things like this, you know that something else is going to follow up. So we just have to wait and see what it is. So that's pretty much it. Lord, when this video is edifying, I'm going to close out by giving our praises to Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Kakadash.